go.
Okay, and you're recording?
I am not recording.
Oh, I guess we're doing it, if we're live
Oh.
streaming, then it is recording.
We don't need to record it.
Yeah,
That's right.
that's why
That was
we're
the whole
doing
point. Oh, and we are live. I see it right here, so.
Okay,
all you,
then
boss.
we'll call this meeting to order. This will be our February 18th, 2025. Just update that real quick on the
Oh,
thing.
apologies. There's always got to be something.
And we'll call it to order. We're recording, so we'll start with our attendance. Tyler Crook, here. Capola Napoleon.
Here.
Emily Sims.
Here.
Chris Darr.
Here.
Rebecca Rice.
Here.
Lainey Salwell.
Absent.
Absent. Robin Onstadt.
Here.
Woo! Mayor Vicky Hernandez. Here. We have an official hand wave. Sarah Frost and
Here.
Richard Guscott.
Here.
Aliki is also here. Hi, Aliki.
Hi,
Okay.
I was muted. Hi, I'm here.
If are there any additions, questions, or changes to tonight's agenda? No? All right. Then unless anyone disapproves, we'll just go ahead and approve the meeting notes or the minutes from last month, January 21st. And then, are there any objections to that? Okay. Then we can move on to the presentation, our 2025-2026 library budget request from our wonderful librarian, Sarah Frost.
That's me. All right, I'm going to move the screen here. Don't mind me. And then I'm going to come back over here. And so those of you who were at the LOL board meeting a couple of Tuesdays ago had the opportunity to get some of this already. So my apologies for the repeat, but every year I do like to go through this with the library board because knowledge is power, and you are the strongest advocacy group we have for the library. And you guys make a lot of decisions that impact the library. So without further ado, I did send these documents out, so hopefully you had an opportunity to take a peek at them before this evening's meeting. Don't mind Capola throwing pins at people.
Excuse me.
The big thing to note is just really, the staffing element. So the big ask in this year's budget was that the city just continue to help us maintain our capacity. And I am happy to report that as of January 2025, last month, we are fully staffed, which is super exciting. So when I started in 2016, we went from 2 FTE, 2 full-time 40-hour positions, and the budget was cut down to 1.5 or 20-hour position, which is me when I got hired on, and now we are at 2.5 FTE. So we are over where we were back in 2016. We now have Richard at 1 FTE, and we have Amanda, and we have Bethany, who are our part-time library clerks. And then I am remaining at 0.8 FTE because I fluctuate and do this depending on any given week. And then we also have Aliki, who has joined us, but her position is grant funded, but she actually won't be part of this budget fiscal request. The big thing to take note and the hardest thing to educate people on is the CCRLS formula reimbursement. These are the funds that come to us through CCRLS and their taxing capacity. So then the college receives the funds, and then CCRLS receives the funds, and then CCRLS distributes those funds to our member libraries. And that information is based on a wonderful formula that some of us have been trying to figure out for many years, and we are still discussing it to this day. In fact, at our CCRLS council meetings, up for discussion will be a revisit to this formula. but basically it's based on two factors. One factor being the property value. In Willamina, it gets a little bit tricky because we have to look at Yamhill County and Polk County when looking at property values. And then also the library circulation to non-City of Willamina resident patrons. So anybody who lives outside city limits counts as a non-resident. So when we circulate to our rural patrons, or if we have someone visiting from Dallas or McMinnville, those all count as non-resident circulation numbers.
So do both of those things, do larger numbers mean more funding for the library?
Well, not necessarily, because it's a pot of money and they have to distribute it based on percentage.
Gotcha.
So sometimes, yes, for us this year, it was like an extra grand. But you know, a lot of that just depends on how well everybody else is performing. I mean, that pot of money historically goes up. So technically you would hope that you're doing well in your community, so your numbers go up. But even in this year's reimbursement, when we looked at the chart, which I have not received word that it's been approved by Chemeketa just yet, but we've been getting that budget through the process. But once the formula reimbursements are approved and the CCRLS budget is approved, we'll all be able to finalize our numbers. But there are some member libraries who did drop down, unfortunately, and we see that, and we're still actually recovering from COVID numbers because we're always a year behind. So we're not looking at necessarily numbers from this last fiscal year. We're actually looking at numbers from the year before last when we're looking at these formula reimbursement formulas. Yes, and luckily I've been very fortunate to sit on several years of budget committees for CCRLS, and I serve as the small library member on the CCRLS Council. So I'm trying to stay well educated on the formula reimbursement process because over time it gets very confusing, quite honestly. There's directors who have been there for quite some time and it's still every single year it's like, explain this to us, because it's not a pretty formula, and I feel bad for Doug, our CCRLS director, who ultimately is responsible for that number, but we love him for it, and he presented a beautiful budget for CCRLS. So that number is always fluctuating, and it's based on our performance, our contributing performance to CCRLS, along with our property values. And then we have net lending, which is also ever fluctuating, and again, it's kind of based on performance and how you're contributing to CCRLS. We are at present a lending library, which means we're lending more than we are borrowing, and that is going to be a factor on two main things. One, we have material on our shelves that people want, so they're able to place holds and we're able to fill those holds. And then two, staffing capacity to maintain all the buckets of things that are going out to all of the member libraries on a daily basis. So as long as we can maintain a budget for our books and material, bring in material that other patrons want, and as long as we have the staff to do that and meet those needs, then I feel that we can continue as a net lending library. Grants, I have not applied for any new grants. I am working through the early literacy grant right now, which is the grant paying for Aliki's hours right now. I do have some potential grants in sight, but as we all know, grant work is a lot of work, and I just might take a few months before I decide what I want to go after next. But luckily we have the Friends of the Library who is applying for grants actively and has actually received some grants. So it's kind of nice to have a team of grant writers now. So as I discussed, this was our staffing plan, and this should be an adequate staffing plan, I would say, for easily the next couple of years. With this staffing plan, we are bumping up from 23 service hours per week to 32 service hours per week beginning in March, which is really exciting for our community. We will be open Monday through Saturday and have hours. So, but those service hours are just those open to close hours. Those do not include hours that we're serving outside those hours. So if we have a morning program over at the park, we host Toastmasters in the evening here. This summer we do movie nights, we're adding game nights. Those are all outside our service hours, so we're still providing services to the community. Those 32 hours are just strictly open to close. Questions so far? Okay, and then the rest of it's just kind of other maintenance on the budget. We have an amazing new finance manager, Marissa, and I was able to sit down with her and we were able to really talk about, you know, what impact my budget has on the general fund, and we're able to identify where the city was paying for library things out of the general fund, so we'll be moving some of those things as we identify them over to the library budget so we can more accurately track what our true impact is, and I can truly see what our total expenditures are. A couple of examples of those is our technology, so like our licenses for Microsoft Office, our IT infrastructure, and the licenses associated with those, our storage unit down at the storage place down there. We got one of those. So just some of those things. And then I did ask for a few small increases here and there, just because, as we all know, costs are going up. And I also asked for a community assistance line to be added to my budget. Historically, these were funds I have had access to continue providing snacks to the kids after school, and then also to assist in putting food in the pantry when we're running low. And of course, the most we utilize this fund from the City Hall is during the summer months when we're providing food, small meals and snacks, I guess you can call it, during our Summer Splash series. So it would be nice to have more control over that spending, and I can stick to a specific budget rather than having a shared budget for that line. So that was the narrative that went to the city manager and to the finance manager. And then I also included this beautiful spreadsheet that went with just kind of more laying out the actual numbers side of our budget. I try to do historically, what our budget was, what our budget is this year, where we're at halfway through the year, and then what I'm asking for next year. So yeah, any questions or feedback or anything you would like to see additionally for this group? I'm gonna take a drink of water while you
I will say that every time I see our budget, I just cannot believe how much we accomplish with this amount of money. Because it's no small amount of money, but it's also not a large amount of money, and it's incredible. You guys are amazing.
High five. We do stretch those pennies.
You do.
And we're very fortunate with the reestablishment of the Friends of the Library now, because now we have access to a pool of funds to continue to enhance our programming without having to have an immediate or direct impact to the general fund. Because what's nice about that is if we have something in the moment or something we want to do in 3 months, and it's not something that we budgeted for the new fiscal year, now we can add it, see if it works, try to fiscally budget for it in a following year. Or if we know there are things that we just can't budget for, particular programming needs. A great example actually could potentially be the early literacy things that come out of Aliki's work, because our program budget's already $3,000, so and it's quite possible that early literacy could easily be an additional $1,500, $2,000, and I know that's a big ask of the city, so it's nice to be able to offset some of our small budget. So thank you to Kay Paula and all the LOL humans who are also sitting at this table, because that helps to make sure that we can do a lot with a little. So. That's the budget presentation. Another part of the budget presentation, are there any other questions about the numbers or don't feel shy. I'm always willing to share. City's going through their budget process right now. So the budget's due by July 1. Historically, that means the budget committee will have their meetings in the spring, so that no later than the June city council meeting, the city council can approve the new fiscal year budget, so that by July 1, all the parties who need the information can get the information. So all that to say is, I never can say exactly when I'll get the approval stamp or the we can't do this stamp. So our numbers are never guaranteed until July 1. But once I do have an approval, I'll make sure to let you guys know.
Quick drink, excuse me. Forgot to open the meeting. Cheers.
Cheers. Another part of this that these numbers are readily available on a regular basis, and I just want to, I was going to do this in my director report, but it actually is part of the budget. So I sent out a link to these 23-24 library comparisons. So every year in October, we send a gazillion statistics, which is everything on this spreadsheet that was in the link to this state library. And they compile all the statistics. They have reporting that they have to do back to the federal level as well. But then by February 1, typically, we can go in, and all these links are live on the state library's website. So anybody at any given time can go in and see back historical years of library trends for all of our libraries. But what I did this year is something a little bit different. And I went back and looked at the 5 closest size libraries to us, the five right underneath us and 5 right above us. So for example, here's Willamina, and here is our population served, and then right underneath us is Enterprise, and then right above us, I'm going to say this wrong, Dover? Yeah? Okay, yes, thank you. And I did this, again, for the 5 right below us and the 5 right underneath us, but then I also included the small libraries within CCRLS for comparison, and this is an oddball out, but I can talk about that one later. And I can go through, boy, I'm in a lot tonight, my apologies, everybody watching this recording later. And you can, for example, go and see, so what are we in comparison to how many registered users we have to those right underneath us, to those right above us. Now, every library and every community is going to have its own story and its own needs it's meeting. So obviously there's a lot more factors to look at outside just the scope of numbers. However, numbers can help us determine if there's areas that we can do better in or we're doing really well in. So for example, the number of registered users we have.
Yeah, Rainier is like off the charts because they're
noticed
smaller
that.
than us, right?
Yeah, they must have every resident possible plus some.
They go door to door and sign up patrons.
Here's your library card.
That's
That's not a bad idea. So this has everything from users, staffing capacity, there's financials in here, there's circulation trends are in here. So this is all the data I submit to the state every year. So it's a lot of data, but I wanted you guys to have access to it because this is the first year I'm intentionally going in and comparing us to our closest sized libraries, I guess is the best way to say it, and then also comparing us to how we are doing compared to our other small libraries within CCRLS. And small is just a definition. The state library determines based on population size whether you're a small, a medium, or a large library. The only large library we technically have in CCRLS is the Salem Public Library based on resident sizes it serves. So that's available for you to look at. I'll be going through this information more in detail. Please feel free to do the same, and then that way if you see anything that you have questions about or if there's anything thing that jumps out at you, I would love to know. It's a lot of data, so more sets of eyes is better than one set of
You
eyes.
said you sent the link?
The link was in the agenda and then
Okay.
also the email, but again, I can send it out again. It was highlighted
Okay.
as
All right.
library comparisons.
Okay,
So yeah, I wanted to share that this evening.
that'd be fun to look at.
Because that could, also impact, how we're looking again financially as well down the road. It's always nice to see what everybody else is doing with the resources they have as well. Questions about that report? It's a lot of information. But it's good information. And that's really, unless you guys have questions, that's it. That's the library budget requests for 25-26 this year. That went to the city manager and the finance manager.
Nice, well, thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. You're welcome. It feels good to be able to make these kinds of requests.
Okay, then we'll move on to the reports. Let's pass this one over to Sarah Frost.
I would love to. Thank you. Well, before I go into my stuff, I first want to give a formal introduction to Aliki and let her have an opportunity to introduce herself and some of the work she's already doing on the early literacy program for our library. In your packets is a copy of the flyer that she created for the survey she created, but I want to give her an opportunity to talk about that and what she's done already. I will say she has hit the ground running, and I've been thoroughly impressed with all the connections she's made in the community already. Not to put you on the spot, Aliki, but I'm very fortunate that she was interested in this position, even though it was limited duration. 150 hours isn't a lot, but we're very grateful to have her. So yeah, Aliki, you want to introduce yourself and talk a little bit about what you've done just already so far in the last few weeks?
Sure. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. My connections here isn't super great. But my name is Lakey. I also feel equally lucky to have found this position. And yeah, so like Sarah said, the community needs survey is kind of the main thing that I've been working on outside of just developing some connections with local educators or people in the community that I've been sort of recommended to contact. So the flyer, or at least parts of the flyer, will be as the Sheridan All Prep Academy newsletter. It sounds like hopefully I'll make it in there as well, and I'm gonna hopefully at some point in the next week, or within this work week, once I'm not stuffy and have a sore throat anymore, I'm gonna go drop some of these flyers around. So there's a QR code so people can scan in and contribute their answers. I've already gotten a few responses, and then I also took some of this information and made like a miniature version that I'm planning to print out into some bookmarks and make available at the register in the library as well. And then tomorrow, Richard and I are doing the Ready for Kindergarten curriculum facilitator training. That's the curriculum that we're going to be using. So that'll sort of be what I'm assuming will be the meat and potatoes of the rest of the program. So excited to get more into that piece of it. But yeah, super grateful for the opportunity and appreciate you guys did I cut out really badly, or did the message get
We
crossed?
got the message. message. Thanks, Aliki.
Yeah, thank you, Aliki.
Yeah, so she's been wonderful, and if you get a chance, we would love your feedback too. So please feel free to go and take the survey. It was sent to the bulletin board. Hopefully we'll see it Wednesday. We already got it live on social media. I'll have Aliki work with Richie to see if there's a way to get it on the website. Yeah, the content of the survey, if you don't even want to complete it, if you'll go take a look at it, but it's real thought out. You know, we're trying to be very intentional in what we want to accomplish with this program. It's not just a story time, right? So we want to be we want to serve the community and help meet the needs of our caretakers in the community, and then help to fill the gaps in early literacy in our community. So I'm excited to see, you know, after they get their training done tomorrow, where this will lead us in the next few months. So questions about that, or questions for Aliki? If you get a chance, come by and see her. She's here hit and miss, but you never know when you might catch her. But I have definitely got her connected. She went to the LOL board meeting. She's coming to this meeting. I've connected her via email with some of our educators up at the school, at Sheridan All Prep Academy, Marion and Polk Early Learning Hub. She's made some great connections in the community already. So, and with that, I sent out also my library monthly report. I just have a few things to actually add to it, just so that you guys know. On February 28th, and this I guess is kind of monthly report and then kind of also calendaring, is this year's Big Talk for Small Libraries online conference. If any of you are interested in more information on that, please let me know. It's an early morning based on time zone, but it's one of the greatest little tiny conferences I've attended, because it's Big Talk for Small Libraries. So it's literally small libraries, which we don't get enough of, and talking about things that are impacting us or things that we can have an impact on. That day just so happens to be the same day, though, as our February library staff meeting, and that will be taking place in the morning. Important for you, and an invitation to you, and please let me know if you're interested. But I'll be doing an hour and 40-minute training, so sorry, library staff, on the First Amendment in the public library. Tyler and I had an amazing opportunity to connect with some of our teammates at the State Library, and they gave us some amazing resources to share, and I went through part of this training this morning before I couldn't anymore, so I'll be going through it with my staff on February 28th. If any of you would like to attend that morning, I would just need to know for space reasons, and or if anyone is interested in taking the training at a later time. Just the first hour that I got of the hour and 40 minutes. It's somebody speaking from a legal perspective. However, the information is incredibly helpful, and the content is really good. It can feel kind of dry and hazy sometimes, but it's just, I feel today it's just very valid information to be getting. So again, that's the First Amendment in the public library. It's an hour and 40 minutes, and we'll be starting that at 9:30 in the morning on February 28th.
And that's a Friday, right?
It's a Friday, yes. And then also in April is Oregon Library Association Conference this year in Eugene. And what's great about all of these things is, like, Big Talk Small Libraries is something, it's free for one, and so you guys can all have access to that, and to past video webinars or panels, I guess, from past conferences for that one. The training that is offered to me through the State Library, I can make available and accessible to you as well. And then Oregon Library Association, last year was wonderful. They had great panels on library boards, on Friends of the Libraries, a lot of policy work. So it was a very beneficial conference to attend. Richard was able to attend and get a lot for programming perspective. And this year I will be on 2 panels. So on Friday the 25th of April, I will be part of the Letting Teens Lead panel with other librarians from around the state, and the Grant Ends Now What panel as well. So I get to actually sit in on 2 panels this year. So that is happening in April. Again, if anyone is ever interested in those things, just let me know so I can get you connected to the resource. It's always a lot of information, so I don't just spill it out to you guys in email, but it doesn't mean that I can't if you really wanted me to. So monthly report, a leaky.
What time did you say the First Amendment meeting, 9:30?
Yeah, my library staff meeting starts at 9 a.m., but I think we're gonna, by 9:30, we should be starting the training. So, questions?
Is that something we can just zoom in on, or do we need to come into the library to
I-
join you?
Probably through this magic technology, make it available via a Zoom thingy. I'll see what I can
Yeah,
do
we'll
there.
see.
Okay.
I'd give up the pool for that, actually. That's important.
Okay, yeah, I'll set that up as a Zoom, and then I'll send it out to everybody. And then again, like I said, if anybody's interested in just doing it at a later date, or on a weekend, like on a Saturday here, let me know, or we can get you guys credentials to access it too as well. Other than that, it was just the same old as far as library statistics go. So unless you guys have any questions.
No?
That's
All
it
right.
for me.
All right, then we can move on to our library board member reports. I guess the only thing I really have to talk about is we started working on Free Comic Book Day 2024, or 25 rather. I do it too. And we're trying to set up a possible summer comics workshop that sort of like keeps the energy going for the comics, the kids who want to make comics. So we're going to talk to LOL about getting some extra funding for that. Hopefully they'll approve it. And our guy, Garrett, our educator, is very excited to do it. He had a great time last year and excited to come back again.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay, Paula, you want to tell us about your stuff?
Sure. Just a bit to do, so I'm gonna try to keep it to this 3 minutes here, but no, I should be able to. Murder mystery happened since our last time we got together, so I feel that it was a pretty large success, and I think the committee does too. Folks just had a really fantastic time. There was a buzz that I was hearing through the community about people continuing to talk about it. And I felt Emily did amazing with helping run the game. It was just so smooth, and that's one thing that I heard feedback was that even though people were stuck into an improv situation, not really knowing what to do, they didn't ever feel like things weren't moving or that they were completely lost and had a horrible time. So
I'm gonna add to that, wasn't just them, like, both of those 2 ladies were amazing. I mean,
Well,
both,
thank you.
both of you. Yeah.
So with the silent auction, ticket sales, the bar, all of that, at less our costs, we came out at about $2,385.93 profit. So the bar was really nice. It helped us earn an extra $338. Ticket sales were at $12.80. We had donations. Charlene had donated $40, and we had $3 left in envelopes that Sarah found. So we banked $3. They probably forgot to put it in the tip jar for a tip. No, who knows? And then the silent auction earned us $1,125. So between tickets and silent auction right there, they were almost even, which is pretty cool. So we have a lot of thanks that Rebecca and Larry worked on today to get out to the community, who all helped us. This is really more like a community event rather than just an LOL event. And one thing I do wanna say is we were going to, pay Sally Shank to make us clam chowder, and she refused when she showed up to take any money from us. And, all she wanted us to say is that if we could all go and check out Ski and Ride for a Cure. That's, the foundation that she, helps fundraise for. And so they're, March 1st, I believe, is,
Yeah. much
when the
worse.
big event is, so.
Yeah.
Check them out online, Ski and Ride for a Cure.
They have a Facebook page.
Murder mystery. Would you like to add anything, fellow? Well, Lainey was there as a guest.
Was, yeah. It was a blast. People really got into it. I mean, I played a character that was like the brunt of a lot of accusations, and I felt very accused. I like had to run from people all the time. But no, it was really fun. Like I came with my spouse and we like barely interacted the whole night because we were busy like doing our thing. Because it was really fun. We had a really good time.
Awesome.
And there were a lot of people who this was their first time in the library.
Yes, we did have probably about six folks who had never been here before. So that's huge exposure for us too, because even them seeing what we have, they're like, wow, this is incredible. So yeah, big, huge thanks to the fundraising committee. That was a lot of hours and work from starting in July until completion in January. And we're, after our we met just 2 weeks ago almost and talked about it. I got a guest feedback survey done. I'm gonna send out to you all to kind of see what the guests thought about
Oh,
it.
you had that done?
I have it done. I'm gonna get it out to you guys
Oh, okay, cool.
probably tomorrow to see if I got everything included that you wanted to have on there. And we are looking at possibly doing another one next February 20, last Saturday in February. In association, or in coordination with Bay Day, since there'll be a program here for the kiddos. So it should be pretty fun. So that was the big murder mystery update for you all. Bottle Drop's still doing good. We're at like $652.60, so that just keeps adding up little bits of money for us. We are just moving along with LOL. There's a whole bunch of things we're kind of working on. Free Comic Book Day is coming up. We're excited about that. And we're looking at funding lots of special things for the library this year. And maybe even getting an instant water heater for the library. So, yeah, it is very fancy. And then I feel like Tyler should share.
I just printed those out because I was so proud of it. I wanted to share.
Yes, there's the little mascot.
Cute.
Oh, I hadn't seen this one.
And there's 2 new ones.
Yeah, there's the new ones. And I did the LOL logo in watercolor.
Yes.
I love it. Thank you so much for your work on this. These are just
Nice.
so cute.
Adorable.
So we're gonna make stickers and use them in the promotion stuff and hopefully get some like bookmarks or something.
This is Lil Barry, by the way.
Lil Barry.
Lil Barry.
Lil Barry the library.
And I think we're the coolest library ever. We have a mascot.
So that one on the dock, that's a new one.
Yeah, that's a new one.
Yeah.
And the little huggy.
And the huggy, yeah.
I think that's all I have for you. Thank you if I went over 3 minutes. I apologize.
3 minutes,
Well-
33 seconds.
We'll take it out of next month's.
There we go.
Robin.
Oh boy. It's my favorite time.
Yeah.
Okay, so last time I said there was nothing to report, which was really great for me. But actually, we've been working on different sections in our nonfiction and our everybody section. So I took sports, which sports used to be sports, football, baseball, basketball, and that was it. The kids would have to look through. So I made volleyball, softball, girls basketball, hockey, soccer, martial arts. So it was like 10 new sports sections, and the kids can just go and get the book because it has, you know, illustrations and words on what's there, so they can, and racing, so there's different kinds of racing. So I have that done, and then I have a couple teachers that like to check out like social emotional learning books for a theme. So I made a section for that and put in like happiness, kindness, empathy, perseverance, all that. So I have, I think 12, and now I'm adding 5 more, so we have them labeled so they could just come and take them off the shelf because it has a sticker saying, this one might say empathy and kindness, so whichever they want to use for that week. And so we got that done, and then we just bought a new huge set of picture books for Black History Month. And it's not just the old history ones, but it's also like artists and fashion designers. I read one today about a fashion designer, and it was really cool to go from, slavery and working with her mom to all of a sudden she became a fashion designer. So there's artists and singers, and those are pretty neat. So we have those for the teachers and kids to check out if they want to check out. And then the last thing, we have a book fair again, and it's March 13th through the 20th. And that is during school hours, except for Wednesday. There's the, I wrote down, carnival from 5 to 8 on the 28th. So we will have it open on the 18th, and we'll have it open for that. And we use the money from that to buy more books for our library and donate to the PTSO for the end of the year bouncy houses, like I've said before. So come check it out if you guys need some books. We'll be there. And I'll say any questions and you say no.
That was amazing. Thank you so much.
On this book fair, do you like take donations for
Yes.
books ahead of time and
Sure.
stuff like that? And what kind of books do you normally, just
And
young adult?
from
anything?
picture books to young adult, yeah.
Okay.
We also have, I think there's a literacy night coming up on March 6th up there, and we had some books. The PTSO bought books for every student at Christmas, and I get to go and buy them, and I overbought so that we could put some in the library, and then we have a box full, and they have another box full to give out as prizes and stuff for that. And I will be up there that night too, and reading to the children, which will be fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you for all your work up there.
Oh, you're welcome.
Are there any other reports? No. No surprise reports.
If anyone ever wants to become a report, you just let me know and I'll add you to the list.
Rebecca, you have a lot of up and coming things, you might want to come on the report list here.
Oh, okay, yeah, I know, I drive her crazy sometimes. Can we do this?
Tyler?
She feels the fire.
Yeah, I do. I think it's really,
Yeah, Mayor Hernandez.
I have just a couple of dates that I wanted to share from city council that are just some things happening in the city, if you'd like to know what those are.
Yes, please.
So first of all, the 4th of July committee, they're having a bingo fundraiser and bake sale on the 21st, so this coming Saturday at the American Legion in Sheridan. So definitely check that out if you have nothing to do. And they'll also do one in April at the Willamette VFW. So trying to raise money for the fireworks. Just found out that the big annual Barkta sale that we have every year is on April 24th through the 26th. We don't have the location yet with the new owners of the grocery store and Coyote Joe's being bought. We still have to confirm with both of those owners or same people basically if we could use the parking lot. So watch for that. The 24th is pre-order only, 25th, 26th, take your trucks down and get your bark dust. And then we'll have one more. Oh, no, that's not what it. The other ones are too far out. I guess those were the only two I wanted to share. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you.
You betcha.
Okay, then we'll move on to our continuing business. CCRLS Patron Confidentiality Form.
So first and foremost, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have about this form. Second, I will collect them all from you at the end of this meeting to keep on file in the library board binder. To recap from last month, this is the CCRLS Patron Confidentiality Form. All volunteers and staff sign this form. Again, to ensure that we're protecting the privacy of our patrons, how they're using the library, what they're using at the library, what materials they're checking out. As I let my new staff know over the years, especially like my teen interns, it's what happens within our four walls shall stay within our four walls. So, not that we're some secret club, but we want everyone who comes into the library to feel like this is a safe space. And then being in such a small community, sometimes that can be really hard because you're going to run into people, or you might check out something that maybe you feel uncomfortable checking out, and then someone else has seen that, or somebody goes up and they're like, hey, did you know that your book is on the shelf at the library? And so we just try really hard, as best as we can, being in such a small community where people know each other and they're going to run into each other here because we're such a little community hub, to protect others people's use of the library. So, happy to answer any questions about that form, though, because I know it can be a lot.
Yeah, and you can make copies and send us home with these too after you sign them.
Mm-hmm,
Right.
absolutely.
Awesome. Any questions or discussion? Okay, then the collection development policy, no update. No new business, but we do have future business. The computer use, internet use, Wi-Fi use policy has no updates, and the code of conduct policy has no updates. Is there anything we want to talk about with that tonight? No, good. Oh no, you got just in your
Oh,
glasses.
no, sorry. I was like.
Thought I saw a hand.
Actually.
Okay, now we can ask for public input, and there's nobody in the chat, I presume?
Oh, I have to watch that.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing.
This is our first time live streaming.
Technical difficulties. Why is this stuck on my screen right here? Fix it, Richard. I fixed it.
Yeah.
No, there's nobody in the chat. Just me.
Okay, excellent. Then we can go over our calendar. Which a lot of this we've already done. Do you want to go through this, Sarah?
Sure, real quick again, just our library has our first full official staff meeting. We have our staff training, but now we'll have our staff meeting in February. We'll be doing this almost monthly, and this particular one will be a focus on First Amendment, and then we'll be attending the early literacy night. More specifically, Richard, Bethany, and Aliki will be attending the literacy night, and we'll have a library table where we will have goodies to hand out, talk about our program calendars, and Aliki will be able to promote her survey. Next library board meeting is March 18th, and as I shared, besides the few additions I added earlier, which is the conferences, I have the OLA conference at the end of April, and I will actually, April and October tends to be the 2 months out of the year where I can successfully take extra days off without having to do a whole lot of remote work. So with any luck, I'll be also taking some additional sporadic vacation days throughout April leading up to and after the conference as much as possible, because once May hits, that's it. We're here through September. So that's it.
Awesome.
Oh, may I share one more thing?
Yeah.
Just kidding. So over in the technology space, there is a big, giant calendar. It's a very busy calendar right now because I need to order pretty colored markers and color code it, and it's all just in black and in your face right now, like here's what's happening this month and here's what's happening this month. But if you look at it, that is what we have planned out for the entire year of programs, clear down to December when we take our holiday off. And the summer months are all up there and very full and very exciting. In fact, we've almost got the summer newsletter done, and after the LOL board meeting has their meeting, I'll be able to actually finalize it so that we can actually have it for early literacy night too, which is super exciting. So if you're ever wondering, we have started adding community events up there too as I get access to them. So the chamber has given me their events, I got them up there, and then as I hear about other events, I'll try to get them up there too. But please take a peek at all the things happening at the library over the year complete.
Awesome, that's great.
Yeah.
Cool, well, I think that wraps it up. I just want to say I am so proud of you guys. You're doing such a great job. I'm so proud to be a member of this board. I'm so grateful that everyone is here. I think that what we do is incredibly important and beneficial for our community, and I'm just really, really glad that you guys are here. Thanks.
Thanks, Tyler.
All right. Done.
All right, can we sign these, to give them to you?